My stomach lurches violently as the needle pierces my palm. Blood spreads across the silk fabric, the masterpiece that should have been my triumph. I freeze, not from the pain, but from what I've just overheard through the partially open workshop door. The old woman's finally losing it. My sister Diane's voice slices through the air like expensive shears through cheap fabric. Did you see her hands shaking? Once she signs those retirement papers tomorrow, I'll have full control. Ice floods my veins as my sister continues. Her tone casual and calculating. Doctor says it's early onset Parkinson's. She'll be completely incapacitated within a year. Perfect timing. I'm Grace Nakamura, 63 years old, and in this moment, I realize my sister isn't just stealing my designs, she's stealing my life itself. If this situation resonates with your soul, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. The door handle turns. I stumble backward, knocking over a mannequin dressed in my latest creation, hand-dyed silk that took 3 months to perfect. The crash echoes through the studio as my sister enters, her Chanel suit impeccable, smile perfectly practiced. Grace, you're bleeding. Fake concern drips from Diane's voice. Let me help. I'm fine. I wrap my hand with fabric scraps, my voice hollow, fingers trembling, no longer sure if it's from shock or whatever she's been putting in my food. Actually, perfect timing, she continues smoothly. We need to discuss tomorrow's retirement ceremony. The words hit like ice water. What ceremony? The board thought it'd be nice to honor your contributions before you step down. All major investors will attend. Her manicured hand pats my shoulder. Don't worry, I've written your speech. She displays her phone screen. Fashion pioneer Grace Nakamura passes torch to visionary sister. Below my signature, forged but convincing enough to fool anyone who doesn't know better. I never agreed to retire, I managed to say, fingertips now numb. Grace, be reasonable. Look at yourself. She gestures at my shaking hands. You can barely thread a needle. It's time for the next generation to take over. Next generation. My sister is only 16 years younger, but in Diane's world of youth over experience, I might as well be ancient. Papers are drawn up, full retirement package. You'll be very comfortable, like a discarded dress relegated to the back of a closet. After she leaves, I notice the security camera in the corner, the one Diane doesn't know exists. My fingers, unsteady but determined, pull up last night's footage on my tablet. There's my sister, photographing my newest sketches. Then reaching into my locked cabinet, she has a key, pulling out my design journal, the one documenting every innovation I've created across 4 decades. Frame by frame, I watch her photograph page after page, then tear out several, crumpling them into her designer handbag. I check my journal. Gone are pages from 2019, the same year Diane won her first major award, with designs that seemed strangely familiar at the time. My phone buzzes with a text message. Appointment moved to 4 p.m. Need to discuss test results and new symptoms. New symptoms. The ones that appeared 6 weeks ago, right after Diane insisted on making me special protein shakes. For your health, she'd said. I glance at the trash can, where I'd thrown this morning's shake. Something is very wrong. Mrs. Nakamura, Sarah, my newest intern, appears in the doorway. At 19, she reminds me of myself, hungry to learn, fingers constantly sketching invisible designs, even when at rest. I need to show you something. Her phone displays a document. Power of attorney. Grace Nakamura grants full authority to Diane Nakamura upon mental incapacitation. Found this on Ms. Diane's printer. Thought you should know. Mental incapacitation. Combined with retirement papers, Diane would control everything, not just the company, but me. Sarah, have you noticed anything unusual about my sister? She bites her lip. I shouldn't say, please. Last week, I saw her meeting someone in the parking garage, exchanging money, lots of it. She mentioned making sure the old woman doesn't last much longer than necessary. The room spins. I grip the work table to steady myself. Should I call someone? Sarah asks. Alarm widening her eyes. No, I force steady breaths. Take this key. Go to my apartment. Bottom desk drawer, red folder. Bring it here. Don't let anyone see you. Alone with this crushing revelation, pieces fall into horrifying place. The tremors, forged signatures, missing designs. My sister isn't just stealing my company, she's systematically destroying me. But she's forgotten who I was before my hands started shaking. Grace Nakamura, who built an empire with a second-hand sewing machine and iron will. The red folder contains what Diane doesn't know exists. Documentation of every design, notarized and dated, secret patent applications. Evidence of my sister's financial misconduct. Tomorrow, she thinks I'll sign my life away. Instead, I'll begin documenting her betrayal. I glance at the half-finished gown on my mannequin. Fashion is transformation, taking raw materials and creating something beautiful. Tomorrow, I'll transform this betrayal into justice. My hands might shake, my vision might blur, but my voice will be steady as I expose 40 years of theft, attempted murder, and the systematic destruction of the sister who gave her everything. Diane thinks she's written my finale, but she's forgotten who taught her to sew in the first place. Sarah returned with the red folder, but wasn't alone. Maya Chen, my head seamstress of 15 years, stood behind her, face twisted with worry. Mrs. Nakamura, Maya closed the door. We need to talk. All of us. What's wrong? Maya's phone trembled in her hands. This morning I overheard Miss Diane. After tomorrow's ceremony, we can finally clean house, starting with anyone loyal to my sister. My stomach dropped. She's firing you. All of us. Everyone you hired personally. Maya's voice cracked. 15 years here. My daughter's in college because of this job. Sarah stepped forward. That man I saw Miss Diane meeting. He's a corporate liquidation specialist. The pieces clicked. Diane wasn't just taking over. She was dismantling everything I'd built. How long has this been planned? Maya sank onto a stool. Started noticing a year ago. Remember your food poisoning during Milan Fashion Week? I nodded. 3 days violently ill, missing crucial meetings. Miss Diane stepped in to help. Started changing passwords, moving files to servers only she could access. Maya's jaw tightened. I think she's been poisoning you gradually, making you look incompetent. The board meetings, I realized. She always brings coffee, and those protein shakes, Sarah added. I saw her adding something from an unmarked bottle, said they were arthritis vitamins. Mercury poisoning, more likely. I spread documents across my table, patents, original sketches, financial records, but most damning, emails between Diane and board members. Look, I pointed to one dated 6 months ago. Diane wrote, Grace's deteriorating health makes leadership transition inevitable. I've prepared succession documents. 6 months ago, Maya leaned in. You were fine then. Exactly. I found another. Here she discusses restructuring assets post-transition with our CFO. They're selling our archive collection, 40 years of original designs, to private collectors. Sarah gasped. Those designs are priceless. They belong in museums, or Diane's private vault, Maya said bitterly. So she can keep stealing after you're gone. The betrayal's scope crystallized. This wasn't sibling rivalry. It was systematic destruction. What will you do? Sarah asked softly. I looked at these women, one loyal for 15 years, one for 3 months, but already showing more loyalty than my sister. First, protect ourselves. Maya, how many staff remain loyal? At least 20. Those who remember who really designs here. Good, Sarah, that security footage, can you copy it? Already done. Also recorded her conversation with the liquidation specialist. She left her door open. Smart girl. What did they discuss? After tomorrow, they're filing papers to declare you mentally incompetent. 2 doctors ready to sign. My hand went to my throat. Based on what? Poisoning symptoms. They're calling it rapid onset dementia. I paced the workshop. Outside, Manhattan glittered. 40 years ago, I'd arrived with nothing but talent and determination, built this company stitch by stitch. I wouldn't let it end with forged signatures and poisoned coffee. Here's our plan. Maya, gather loyal staff. Have them at tomorrow's ceremony. Phones ready. What are you planning? Diane expects me to read her speech and shuffle into retirement. Instead, I'll tell the truth. All of it. Sarah's eyes widened. In front of everyone? Investors, press, the fashion world. I picked up scissors, but first, I must finish tomorrow's dress. What kind? Maya asked. I smiled, my first real smile in weeks. Something memorable, something saying I'm not dead yet. For 2 hours, I worked with 4-decade focus. Hands shook, vision blurred, but muscle memory guided as I cut, pinned, stitched. The emerging dress was blood red, like my grandmother's Shanghai peonies, bold, unapologetic, impossible to ignore. As I worked, Maya and Sarah made calls. The workshop filled with career sounds, scissors through fabric, sewing machines humming, whispered multilingual conversations. Mrs. Nakamura, Sarah appeared. Found something else. Her phone showed bank statements. Cayman Islands account in Ms. Diane's name. Look, monthly $50,000 transfers from company accounts to Diane's offshore holdings. Nearly $1 million stolen. Can we prove she authorized these? Better. Security footage of after-hours account access. And this, she swiped screens. She's selling our vintage pieces, your early collection samples, to private collectors. Pieces meant for company archives. Each revelation cut deeper. Those weren't just clothes. They were my history, my evolution. She's erasing you, Maya said quietly, stealing your future, selling your past. I returned to my dress, resolve hardening with each stitch. Tomorrow, Diane thought she'd bury me. Instead, I'd rise in red silk with 40 years of truth as armor. My phone buzzed. Doctor's text. Grace, mercury levels match industrial exposure. This wasn't accidental. Contact authorities? I typed, not yet. After tomorrow. Sure about this? Maya watched my face. If she's poisoning you, exactly why it must be public. Too many witnesses to silence. I held up the nearly finished dress. In afternoon light, it glowed like embers. Tomorrow, I'd burn down my sister's false empire. One more call to make. I dialed Laurent Dubois, fashion journalist who'd covered my first show in Grace. Looking forward to your retirement ceremony. Though it seems sudden. Laurent, how about an exclusive? The kind that shakes fashion's world? His voice sharpened. I'm listening. Be there tomorrow. Front row. Bring your best photographer. After hanging up, I studied my reflection, face gaunt from poisoning, hands trembling, but eyes burning with the fire that built an empire from nothing. Tomorrow, that empire would learn its real creator. I made one final alteration, a hidden pocket, perfect for a flash drive containing every piece of evidence. Diane thought she knew all my secrets. She had no idea. The St. Regis ballroom glittered with fashion elite. Editors, buyers, influencers, controlling millions. They'd come for my retirement to watch Diane complete her theft before 500 witnesses. Instead, they'd witness fashion's most public execution. Backstage, in my red dress, silk clinging like armor, I applied lipstick with trembling hands, not nerves, but 6 weeks of poison. Through the curtain, Diane's smooth voice carried. We honor a pioneer who built this company from nothing. But fashion must evolve. Time for new vision, new leadership, new theft, I thought. Mrs. Nakamura? Sarah appeared with her phone. Laurent Dubois, front row center. 3 photographers. Our people? 22 loyal staff, strategically placed, all recording. I touched the hidden pocket. 40 years of evidence pressed against my hip. Grace, you're on in 2. I remembered grandmother's words. In our family, we face storms standing up. Please welcome my beloved sister, Grace Nakamura. Applause erupted as I walked on stage. Lights hit my red dress, gasps rippled through the crowd. The color was deliberate, impossible to ignore. Diane's face tightened fractionally before her PR smile returned. She offered the microphone. Her prepared speech waited, 3 pages of lies. I took the mic but ignored the script. 40 years ago, I started this company with a second-hand sewing machine and dreams. Today, I tell you the truth about what happened to those dreams. Diane's smile flickered. This wasn't scripted. 6 weeks ago, my sister began adding mercury to my morning coffee. Dead silence. She's been ill, Diane interjected. The stress, symptoms started after she insisted on making special vitamin shakes. I raised my shaking hand. Tremors. Blurred vision. Classic mercury poisoning. Doctor confirmed yesterday. Industrial levels in my bloodstream. Murmurs rippled. Laurent leaned forward, photographer clicking rapidly. This is ridiculous, Diane reached for the mic. Grace is clearly confused. Am I? I connected my phone to the AV system, then explained this security footage. Screens showed Diane entering my workshop at 2 a.m., photographing designs, stealing journal pages, or this. Another video. Diane adding drops to my coffee. The room erupted. Diane paled. For 5 years, my sister systematically stole my designs. Every innovative collection created by me months earlier. Every award built on my work. I displayed side-by-side comparisons. My sketches versus Diane's originals. These are fake, Diane shouted. She's having a breakdown. Tam spams verified by digital forensics. As are these emails, planning to liquidate company assets, including selling our archives to private collectors, pieces meant for museums. Gasps. Board members frantically phoned lawyers. But theft began earlier. 1994, Diane home from business school. I taught her pattern making, shared techniques developed over years. She presented my work to father as her fresh vision. I faced my sister. I thought you needed confidence, that finding your voice would stop you borrowing mine. Instead, you decided to silence me permanently. You're insane. Someone call security. Wait. Laurent stood. I want to hear this. Others joined. Let her speak. I pulled out the flash drive. 40 years of documentation, every design, notarized and dated. Patents Diane doesn't know exist. Evidence of systematic embezzlement, nearly $2 million in offshore accounts. Diane lunged. I stepped back. She stumbled in designer heels. You bitter old woman. I made this company. Your designs were stuck in the past. I brought us into the 21st. With my work, I said quietly. Always with my work. I addressed the audience. Fashion talks about supporting women, honoring elders, but how often do we see the opposite? Talented women erased, work stolen, contributions minimized until they conveniently disappear. I looked at cameras. I almost did disappear. Poisoning, gaslighting, systematic reputation destruction. It nearly worked, without loyal employees risking careers to help. On cue, Maya and Sarah stood, followed by 20 staff members. We stand with Grace Nakamura, Maya declared. The real creative force, Laurent typed furiously, going live on Fashion Daily now. You're destroying everything. Diane shrieked. The company, our reputation. No, I'm saving it. From you. I held up a document. Letter from major investors. As of this morning, you're removed as creative director pending investigation. Emergency board meeting scheduled. Diane's legs wobbled. She grabbed the podium. You planned this, she whispered. Learned from the best. You taught me timing is everything. Security appeared at stage edges, but not moving toward me. James, our security head, had worked for me 15 years. He knew who built this company. Police wait outside, I announced. Warrants for attempted murder, fraud, embezzlement. Cameras exploded. Diane looked wildly around, trapped. Desperately, she tried once more. Mother always said you were too emotional for business. That's why she favored me. The words hung like poison gas. Our mother died 10 years ago, but her favoritism planted these seeds. Maybe I am emotional. I put heart into every design, cried when our first collection sold out. Celebrate when young designers find voice. Emotion isn't weakness, Diane. It makes fashion art, not just clothes. Officers entered. Diane straightened, maintaining dignity as they approached. This isn't over, she hissed. You're right. Trials will take months, maybe years. But I've waited 40 years for justice. I can be patient longer. As officers led her away, I turned to the microphone. To everyone who's had work stolen, contributions minimized, expertise dismissed for age or gender, document everything. Find allies. When the moment comes, tell your truth. I surveyed the audience, shocked, crying, many applauding. Fashion isn't just clothes. It's stories we tell, dreams we weave. For 40 years, someone else told my story. Today, I'm taking it back. Standing ovation lasted 7 minutes. Laurent would write it was the most dramatic fashion show ever without a single model. But the real show was beginning. Within hours, Justice for Grace trended worldwide. Fashion houses reviewed internal practices. 3 more designers came forward about Diane. That evening, I sat in my workshop, hands finally steady. Doctors had started mercury treatment. I picked up scissors, began cutting fabric for my next collection. My collection, my name. Fashion loves comeback stories. I was about to deliver one echoing through decades. My phone buzzed. Anna Wintour. Lunch tomorrow? Need to discuss your September cover. I smiled, remembering grandmother. Bamboo that bends survives the storm. The storm had passed. Time to grow towards. 3 days after Diane's arrest, I faced 12 stone-faced board members. The same people who'd smiled for decades while planning my obsolescence. Grace, Michael Rothstein began. Our lead investor who'd called my designs quaint. While we appreciate you bringing certain irregularities to light, we need to discuss the company's future. Stock dropped 40%, added Patricia Wells, adjusting her glasses. Investors are panicking. We need stable leadership. I opened my portfolio, laying out 30 sketches. This is our fall collection. Ready for production. Hand-drawn? Michael scoffed. Grace, we use CAD systems now. This is exactly what I mean about modernization. These incorporate smart textiles. I interrupted. Temperature-regulating silk for menopausal women. UV protective fabrics with style, not just function. And this, I held up a sketch. A jacket with hidden medical alert systems. Fashion that serves our demographic. Patricia leaned forward, intrigued. Our demographic? Women over 50 control 70% of consumer spending, yet fashion treats them like they're invisible. I pointed to another design. This dress has magnetic closures for arthritic hands. But look at the cut, elegant, powerful. Not medical wear. Silence fell. For years, Diane pushed toward youth markets, chasing 20-somethings who couldn't afford our prices. Our customer base aged with us, I continued. They're successful, wealthy, tired of being ignored. They want beauty and functionality. Michael cleared his throat. The investigation will take months. We need leadership now. I agree. I closed my portfolio, which is why I'm appointing Maya Chen as interim creative director. Your seamstress? Patricia's eyebrows shot up. My head of production for 15 years. She knows every pattern, supplier, technique that makes us special. More importantly, she has integrity. And you? Michael asked. I'll be CEO, the position I should have had from the beginning. Grace, no offense, but you're not exactly business school material. Neither was Coco Chanel. I pulled out my tablet. But here's what I am. The person who built this reputation over 40 years. Look at our stock timeline. I displayed the graph. Every time Diane presented her designs, stocks rose because they were actually mine. When she implemented her own ideas, they fell. Board members shifted uncomfortably. I also have this. Another screen. Messages from our top clients since the revelation. Anna Wintour, Oprah's stylist, the Duchess of Cambridge's dresser. They're not calling for Diane. They're asking when I'm returning. My phone buzzed. I glanced down and smiled. That's Bernie Arnault from LVMH. He's offering to buy us, but only if I stay as creative head. Michael paled. He wants to buy us out for 3 times market value. Apparently, integrity is fashionable again. Patricia removed her glasses. What do you want, Grace? I want this company to matter. Not just for profits, though we'll have those, but for every woman told she's past her prime. For every designer whose work was stolen by someone with better connections. I walked to the window. Manhattan pulsed with ambition outside. Diane thought fashion was about youth and flash, but real style is timeless. It's knowing who you are and refusing to apologize. I turned back. I'm 63. My hands shake from poisoning. I need reading glasses. But I can still create beauty that makes women feel powerful. Can your algorithms do that? Michael sighed. We'll need to vote. Of course. I gathered my portfolio. But while voting, consider this. Diane faces 20 years. Her vision led to attempted murder. My vision built this company. Which future do you bet on? 2 hours later, the vote was unanimous. I was CEO of the company I'd founded. My first call, Laurent Dubois. Grace, working on a follow-up. Fashion world's exploding. Good. I want to announce our new direction. We're launching a foundation for older designers pushed out by ageism and scholarships for young designers, with one condition. What's that? They must mentor with designers over 60. Real knowledge transfer, not theft. Brilliant. What else? Bringing production back to New York. Creating jobs for skilled workers. Diane fired to cut costs. And Laurent? I paused. I want to show something. What? That poison doesn't kill spirit. It just makes you more dangerous. After hanging up, I called my lawyer. Have prosecutors offered Diane a deal? 20 years if she pleads guilty. Life if she goes to trial. Tell them if she returns every stolen design and testifies about her network of corporate spies, I'll recommend 15 years. That's generous, considering she tried to kill you. I'm not being generous. I'm being strategic. I want those other thieves exposed. That evening, I worked late in my real office now, not the converted storage room Diane had relegated me to. Maya knocked, entering with tea. The staff wanted you to know we're all behind you, even after the chaos I've caused. Especially after. She set down the tea. Do you know how long we've waited for someone to stand up? I sipped the tea, my own blend now, not Diane's poison. Maya, how would you feel about designing the resort collection? Full creative control. Her eyes widened. You're serious? I've reviewed your sketches, the ones you think I don't know about. I smiled at her shock. You have talent, Diane would have suppressed it forever. I don't know what to say. Say yes and bring Sarah as your assistant. That girl has instincts. After Maya left, I sat alone, studying my reflection. The woman staring back wasn't the victim from days ago. This one was a force of nature. Phone rang. Unknown number. Grace? It's Tom Ford. I straightened. Tom, it's been years. Just read Laurent's article. Listen, I know what it's like fighting for your vision, when business degrees matter more than creativity. What they don't understand is creativity is business. Exactly. I'm hosting dinner tomorrow. Private. 12 designers who built their houses instead of inheriting them. Join us. After the call, I opened my sketchbook, new, not contaminated by Diane's theft. My hand moved steadily across paper. I drew a phoenix, not the mythological bird, but a dress capturing its essence, red silk layers flaming upward, hidden steel supports in the bodice, armor disguised as beauty, the dress every woman over 50 deserved, one saying, "I'm not done yet." Grandmother used to say, "Most beautiful gardens grow after hardest winters." My winter lasted 40 years. But spring would be glorious. I texted our PR director, schedule press conference Monday, title, "The Future of Fashion is Female," and she's over 50. Then I returned to designing. While Diane rotted in her cell, dreaming of lost empire, I was building something better from her ashes, something honest, something real, something that would outlast us all. The federal courthouse steps swarmed with photographers as I arrived for Diane's arraignment. 17 days since arrest, and fashion still couldn't stop talking. FashionGate had exposed similar theft in 3 major houses. Grace, will you testify against your sister? How does it feel to have justice? Are you afraid of retaliation? I paused at the microphone forest. My red coat, same shade as Revelation dress, cutting through gray December morning. Fashion has always been about transformation. Today, we transform theft into accountability. Inside, Diane sat in orange jumpsuit, far from usual Chanel. Her lawyer, Manhattan's most expensive, looked nervous. Federal prosecutor Janet Morrison had a reputation for destroying white-collar criminals. All rise for Judge Catherine Banks. Judge Banks, 72 and famous for seeing through corporate doublespeak, took her seat. We're here for arraignment of Diane Nakamura on charges of attempted murder, wire fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. How does the defendant plead? Not guilty, Your Honor. Diane's voice had lost its boardroom confidence. Very well, Miss Morrison. Present your case for bail consideration. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, Miss Nakamura systematically poisoned her sister while stealing intellectual property worth $50 million. She has extensive international connections and hidden assets. Objection. Diane's lawyer interrupted. My client has strong community ties.
Mr. Richardson, Judge Banks cut in. Your client's community ties include a network of corporate spies across 3 continents. I've read the FBI report.
She turned to me. Ms. Grace Nakamura, as the victim, do you have safety concerns if defendant is released? I stood. Your Honor, my sister has proven she'll kill for money. 3 days ago, someone tried breaking into my apartment. Security cameras showed a man matching the description of Diane's vitamin supplier. The judge's eyebrows rose. This wasn't in the police report. It happened yesterday after hours. Police are investigating now. Your Honor, the prosecutor jumped in. This establishes ongoing threat. I've heard enough. Judge Banks's voice could freeze water. Bail is denied. Defendant remains in custody pending trial. But Your Honor, Richardson started. Mr. Richardson, your client poisoned her own sister while stealing her life's work. She's made her bed. Now she can sleep in it. In federal detention. As officers led Diane away, she turned. You think you've won? You have no idea what's coming.
Actually, I said loud enough for court reporter, I do. Because while you plotted murder, I documented everything, including your plans to sell our company to your husband's competitors once I was dead. Her face went white. She hadn't known I knew. Outside, press surrounded me again. This time, I was ready. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened to me happens daily in our industry. Talented creators, pushed out by those who mistake MBA degrees for vision, age discrimination disguised as modernization, theft rebranded as collaboration. I displayed my phone website. Today, I'm launching the Fashion Integrity Foundation. We'll provide legal support for designers whose work is stolen, advocate for age diversity, and maintain a public database of confirmed intellectual property thieves. What about your company? Laurent called out. House of Nakamura returns to its roots. Craftsmanship over fast fashion. Diversity over tokenism. And every design will be properly credited to its creator. That afternoon, I held an all-staff meeting. Mood was electric. Our stock had jumped 80% since announcement. Integrity was trending. For 40 years, I addressed the room. This company succeeded despite internal sabotage. Imagine what we can do now being honest about who creates what. Applause erupted. These people, pattern makers, seamstresses, junior designers, had watched their work credited to Diane for years. Starting today, our garments include names of everyone involved, from design to final stitch. Maya stepped forward. What about designs Diane stole? One's already in production. We're recalling them. Every piece relabeled with proper attribution. I smiled. Yes, it's expensive, but authenticity is our new luxury brand. That evening, I sat with legal team, reviewing evidence. Diane's crimes kept expanding. She hadn't just stolen from me. She'd been selling competitors' designs to Chinese manufacturers, keeping profits offshore. Grace, my lawyer said, she's looking at 40 years minimum, maybe life. Good. That doesn't bother you? She's your sister. She stopped being my sister when she decided my life was worth less than a clothing empire. My phone buzzed. Anna Wintour. Grace, darling. Vogue wants 12 pages. The Redemption Collection, your first line post Diane. Full creative control. When do you need it? September issue. And, Grace, we're putting you on the cover. Solo. After 40 years, I was getting my September cover, without having to die first. That night, I worked until dawn, sketching the collection that would redefine us. Each piece told stories of survival, transformation, rebirth. Fabrics seeming delicate but with steel cores. Dresses appearing simple, until you noticed revolutionary construction. At 3 a.m., Sarah texted, "Can't sleep, in archive room, you need to see this." I found her surrounded by boxes, my personal archives Diane had ordered destroyed. Somehow they'd survived. Look, Sarah held up a sketch from 1979. Your very first design, the one that started everything. I took the yellowed paper with trembling hands. A simple dress with asymmetrical collar, revolutionary then. Below it, in my young handwriting, "Fashion is honesty in fabric. We should frame this," Sarah said. "Hang it in the lobby." "No," I smiled. "We should recreate it. Update it with everything I've learned in 40 years. Make it centerpiece of Redemption Collection." Speaking of redemption, Sarah hesitated. "I've been tracking those offshore accounts." Diane had partners. Other designers in a theft network. Who? Big names. The kind that could destroy the whole industry. I sat heavily. How big? Remember the Milan design theft scandal of 2018, where 3 houses showed identical collections? That was Diane? Her fingerprints are everywhere. She was building a cartel. Grace, you weren't her only victim, just her longest-running one. I stared at the old sketch. 40 years ago, I'd written "Fashion is honesty in fabric." Now I had the chance to make the entire industry honest.
Document everything, I told Sarah.
Every connection, every transaction, the FBI will need it. This could get dangerous. These people have billions at stake. So did Diane. I stood, strengthening my spine, and look where she is now. Next morning, the federal prosecutor called. "Grace, we need to talk. Diane's lawyer is pushing for a plea deal. What's she offering? Full cooperation. She'll testify against her network for 20 years instead of life. No deal unless she returns every stolen design and provides all contact lists. I want every conspirator exposed." That's aggressive. She tried to murder me. Aggressive is the only language she understands. 2 hours later, Diane's lawyer called. "Your sister wants to speak with you. In person. Today." "Why?" "She says she has information about your parents. Things you need to know before trial." "My parents died in a car crash when I was 25, leaving me to raise teenage Diane alone. What could she possibly know?" "Fine, but I'm bringing my lawyer and recorder." That afternoon, I sat across from Diane in federal detention. Orange had never been her color. "You look good," she said, "the poison's wearing off." "What about our parents?" She leaned forward. "They didn't die in an accident, Grace. They were murdered. By the same people I've been working with." My heart stopped. "What are you talking about?" Dad discovered something about fashion industry's dirty money, human trafficking, drug cartels using haute couture for money laundering. He was going to expose. "You're lying." "Am I?" "Check his old files, the ones you kept in storage. Look for Project Silkworm." She smiled coldly. "You think this is about stolen dresses? Grace, you've just scratched the surface, and now they're coming for you too." I left the detention center with my head spinning. Was this another manipulation? Or had I uncovered something that could destroy not just my family, but the entire fashion industry? That night, I stood in my storage unit, staring at dusty boxes labeled Mom and Dad. With shaking hands, I opened the first box. Inside, wrapped in tissue paper, a file marked Project Silkworm, confidential. The first page made my blood run cold. Investigation into systematic money laundering through high fashion houses. Primary suspects. The list included names now sitting on my company's board. I closed the file and called Janet Morrison. "We need to talk," I said. "This is bigger than Diane, bigger than stolen designs. This goes back 40 years, and it might have killed my parents." "Come to my office," she said. "Bring everything. And Grace, don't trust anyone else with this information, not even your own board." I looked at my reflection in the storage unit's dusty mirror. I'd thought I was fighting for justice in fashion. Instead, I might be about to expose the industry's darkest secret. And unlike my parents, I planned to survive it. 6 months later, I stood in my redesigned showroom, watching models rehearse for the most important fashion show of my life. The September Vogue, with my cover, had sold out in 3 days. FBI investigations led to 17 arrests across fashion, and Diane was serving 25 years in federal prison. But Project Silkworm had changed everything. "Grace?" Sarah approached with her tablet. The Times wants a quote about congressional hearings. I looked at protesters below. After exposing the money laundering network, fashion would never be the same. 3 major houses had collapsed. CEOs fled to non-extradition countries. My parents finally got justice, 40 years late. Tell them truth always finds its thread. Maya entered with final collection pieces. Each garment carried tags with every creator's name, designer to seamstress. No more theft, no more shadows. The Phoenix dress is ready. Maya unveiled my masterpiece. Red silk cascaded like flames, hidden steel supports, making wearers stand taller. The collar echoed my first design from 1979, but transformed what was once asymmetrical uncertainty, now commanded attention. It's perfect. I touched the fabric, remembering grandmother's words. From ashes, beauty. My phone buzzed. Janet Morrison. Guilty on all counts. The cartel is finished. I closed my eyes, feeling 40 years lift from my shoulders. 5 minutes to showtime. The audience included everyone who mattered. Anna Wintour, surviving industry leaders, FBI Director Williams, hundreds of designers who'd found courage through our movement. Even Judge Banks came. But the front row? 22 seamstresses who'd stood by me. The real creators. Lights dimmed. Music began. Not Diane's electronic beats, but single piano playing Chopin, mother's favorite. I walked on stage in simple black, no dramatics, just 40 years ago, I made my first dress. Tonight, I show my last collection as CEO because sometimes, to transform an industry, you must step aside for the next generation. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Today, I announce new leadership of House of Nakamura. Maya Chen, Creative Director. Sarah Kim, CEO. Two women who understand fashion's future lies not in theft, but collaboration. The first model emerged in a suit looking conservative until she moved, revealing hidden colors, unexpected angles, like the women we'd designed for, complex, surprising, unapologetically themselves. Each piece told our story. Coats with pockets deep enough for dreams, dresses adapting to their wearer's movement, fabrics aging beautifully, like their owners. Then came the Phoenix dress. The model 65-year-old Carmen Della Refis moved like liquid fire. The dress seemed alive, each step revealing new dimensions. I saw tears in the audience as finale music swelled. All 20 models returned. Different ages, sizes, backgrounds, real women. Our future. Standing ovation lasted 12 minutes. Backstage, Laurent found me first. That wasn't just fashion. That was revolution. It was a beginning, I corrected. Anna Wintour approached. Grace, that was transcendent. What's next? I'm taking sabbatical. Small design school in Kyoto asked me to teach. You're leaving New York? I'm going home. To learn teaching without stealing. To show knowledge shared multiplies rather than diminishes. That night, I hosted private dinner. 22 seamstresses, Maya, Sarah, my legal team, people who'd risked everything for truth. To family, I raised my glass. The kind you choose. After everyone left, I sat with my sketchbook. But for the first time in 40 years, I wasn't drawing dresses. I was drawing gardens. Grandmother's gardens. My phone rang. Unknown number with federal prison prefix. Grace? Diane's voice sounded small. I saw the show. They let us watch news. I waited. It was beautiful. Everything I tried to steal, you gave away freely. And somehow that made it worth more. That's the difference between us, Diane. I never saw fashion as something to own. I found something in Dad's old letters about Project Silkworm. There's more, Grace. Names he didn't have time to document. People still operating. My spine straightened. Why tell me now? Because orange isn't my color. A weak laugh. And because I'm sorry, not just for what I did, for what I became. Send me everything you know. Already did. To FBI and your lawyer, Grace? Yes, that Phoenix dress, Mom would have loved it. After she hung up, I walked to my window. Manhattan glittered below, but I was thinking about Kyoto, cherry blossoms. Tea ceremonies, teaching without ego. My reflection caught my eye. At 64, my face showed every battle scar, but my eyes burned brighter than ever. Next morning, I held my final press conference as CEO. The fashion industry has been exposed,
cleaned, reborn. But vigilance is eternal. Fashion Integrity Foundation will continue monitoring, supporting, protecting creators worldwide. What about your personal future? Someone called. I'm returning to roots, teaching, learning, growing things that can't be stolen. Wisdom, integrity, courage. I looked at cameras. To every designer who's been silenced, every creator robbed, every woman told she's too old, document everything. Find allies. Tell your truth. And remember, most beautiful designs come from authentic lives. 3 months later, I stood in a simple Kyoto classroom facing 12 eager students. Windows overlooked gardens where grandmother once walked. Fashion, I began, is honesty in fabric. Let me teach you what that means. My phone buzzed with Maya's photo. Our latest collection had broken sales records. Integrity was the new luxury. But real success? 3 former Diane accomplices came forward, helping authorities uncover the cartel's remnants. My parents' murder was finally solved. Worldwide, fashion houses were implementing our transparency protocols. That evening, I walked through grandmother's restored gardens. Bamboo swayed, having survived countless storms. A student approached, Yuki, quiet but talented. Sensei, may I ask something? Of course. In your last collection, every piece transformed as it moved. How? I smiled, remembering grandmother. Life changes us constantly. Why shouldn't our clothes reflect that truth? Understanding bloomed in her eyes. This was why I'd come home. Not hiding from the industry I'd transformed, but planting seeds for its future. My phone rang. Sarah from New York. Grace, we've been nominated for CFDA Lifetime Achievement Award. They want to honor your 40 years. Tell them I'm honored, but can't attend. I have classes to teach. You're really happy there, aren't you? I looked at students sketching in the garden, cherry blossoms beginning to bloom, simple beauty of truth passing hand to hand. I spent 40 years fighting for fashion's soul. Now I'm nurturing its future. After hanging up, I returned to students. Tomorrow, I'd teach them about the phoenix dress. But today we'd learn the strongest fabric isn't silk or wool or steel. It's integrity, woven through generations, surviving every storm, growing more beautiful with age. Like the women who wear it. Like truth that sets us free. And sometimes, in quiet moments between sketches, I'd remember my sister's final gift names that brought down an empire of lies. Even poison, it seemed, could transform into medicine. Fashion tells our story. Mine was ending exactly as it began, with honesty in fabric, hope in thread, and absolute certainty that creativity shared becomes immortal. The bamboo swayed, students sketched, and somewhere in federal prison, my sister was finally learning to create rather than steal. Transformation complete.